Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where digital discussions in the worlds of sports, pop culture, social media. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On Twitter, they know me as PD Beats. The Sherwin-Williams CHL NHL Top Prospects Game is this week. This is the opportunity for some of the best eligible players for 2018 NHL Draft go head-to-head and kind of show everyone what they have. And I'm pretty thrilled to be joined by a player that's going to be playing in that game. He plays for the Sault Ste. Greyhounds in the OHL. We're with Barrett Hayton. Barrett, welcome to Popternative, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited for this.
Absolutely. So, usually I kind of ask, when you kind of started to play hockey, when did you decide you wanted to do it, and like on the pro level as well. But even before that, Top Prospects Game this week, you're playing with Sault Ste. Team that is, people are saying, using the word stacked. There's a lot of skill. You're having a very good season. There's a lot of great forwards, a lot of defense. Goaltending is solid. Talk a little bit about, and there's been an unbelievable streak that occurred with winning after game. Talk a little bit about how that's been, because it must be just exciting playing on such a great team, powerful team in the OHL.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing. Obviously, winning as much as we have early on with the team we have, and acquiring more guys before the deadline. It's amazing. We have a ton of talent in the room, and the character's great as well. So really looking forward to this stretch before playoffs.
And of course, the Top Prospects Game. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. I mean, you talk to a lot of players. I talked to Keel Thomas about it, Gabriel Fortier, players that are eligible for the 2018 draft. I mean, you want to focus on your team. You want to focus on the OHL. But I'm sure, at times, especially when you're kind of off, it's in the back of your mind. You're thinking about it. And it's a big opportunity for you, the CHL Top Prospects Game.
Yeah, for sure. Coming in this season, it was a goal of mine to be selected to this game, and it's really excited with it coming up this Thursday. It's really just a great opportunity to get together with as you said, the top prospects in the CHL, and it'll be exciting.
When you decided that you were taking, when was the first time where you decided that you wanted to take, you were taking hockey seriously? Because I understand, you asked, when did you start playing? And a lot of players say they started playing, very young. They started playing when they're 5, 6. But for you, was there a kind of point in time, whether it was in, Adam or Pee Wee, minor hockey, where you're like, yeah, this is what I want to do?
I feel it was early on in minor hockey. It was something that growing up, just watching the NHL is always a goal of mine. And really, as I got older, I really just realized that I could possibly make that an achievement. So I really strived for it, and I put a lot of work into it.
You're one of many players who's had the opportunity to represent Canada on the international stage at the Avinalinka. And you won gold in that with a very, very strong Team Canada. And it's one of those things where I love asking these questions because there's a lot of differences, of course. But what do you think is the biggest kind of difference from playing on the international stage and then playing, in the OHL with your team? Obviously, the format's different, but is there anything, and the time change depending where the tournament is, but it's a completely different game. It's a completely different atmosphere, right, Barrett?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you have the chance to put on your country's logo, it's really a whole different scenario. Really just what it takes, and really the sacrifice that you make for doing anything you can to win for your country. It's something that's it's really amazing.
What's really interesting too is there's quite a few players that your current teammates in your dressing room right now that came back from winning the gold medal of the World Junior Hockey Championship. Kachuk, Timmins, Taylor Radish, who was recently acquired. These guys, come back from this tournament. And I'm sure that kind of, it gives them confidence as well, but I'm sure it gives the whole room confidence that you're kind of in, like, does that ever come to mind that they come back in and they're ready to go and you can kind of fuel off their energy as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty amazing that our team has three of the guys who are on that team winning gold, and something that brings a lot to our room really with the team we have, and having that experience of them playing at such a high level and winning is huge for our team, and it'll be key moving on this season and into playoffs.
And I'm sure it kind of gives you that motivation and confidence that you want to maybe be there next year, the year like before. Like I'm sure it gives a lot of players that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just seeing what they were able to accomplish, it really it pushes you to try to do the same.
Did you guys, I'm like myself, I'm sure you grew up watching the World Junior Hockey Championship. Do you kind of agree with the statement that the World Juniors was one of those tournaments that really kind of not necessarily put the CHL on the map, but it allowed for a lot more exposure, and people kind of see guys at the World Juniors, and then they have an opportunity when the tournament is done to kind of check them out and follow them at the junior, the major junior stage. Did you kind of see that as a big opportunity for the OHL or like in the CHL in general? Do players? I'm sure players see that as well. Because we grew up watching the game. You see these players, and you're like, oh, we have an opportunity now to see them. And you go to games, you're like, I'm going to see this guy play because I just saw him at the World Juniors. I feel like it really helps the OHL significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Growing up every year watching the games, and then having OHL teams locally, being able to really go down the street and see those guys who were representing your country playing in the OHL, and really throughout all of Canada, with the majority of the players representing Canada being from the CHL. I think it's huge for the CHL. Really, with the hype around the World Juniors, and how exciting it is, really bringing that back into the CHL, and really giving it a lot of recognition.
You're going to snap your fingers, and it's going to be getting ready for the NHL Combine, getting ready for the NHL Draft. It's going to come. It's going to creep up very fast, especially this week you're playing in the Top Prospects Game. What I find really interesting, Barrett, is you have this. Obviously, there's this this whole thing that on the ice, that's the job as well, playing hockey, winning for your team, getting bigger and stronger, all of that. We understand that. But what I find interesting is, and this applies not only to pro hockey, but it also applies to junior as well, is off the ice there's a job as well of, talking to the media, talking with the fans. So basically, and school, right? So basically, you're always working on your game, whether it's your your on ice game or your media, talking to the fans, networking game. Did you ever kind of look at it that way? Because it is it's becoming more and more part of a job for a junior hockey player to kind of do these community events, talk to the media. Have you ever thought of it like that?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, definitely you have to be a great role model for the community. I think that's something that's very key, whether it's at school or around the community with the community events. I think it's key to set a really good example for the fans, for the kids that are watching. I think that's huge.
For sure. What has been your favorite moment of your hockey career thus far? Whether it's in junior, I mean, I'm sure Ivan Alinka could be up there, but you've obviously been privileged to be involved with a lot of cool opportunities early on in your career, and it's just going to get bigger and better. But has there been one that has stood out over the others, Barrett?
I think the Ivan Halinka, really being able to win gold with your country, it was amazing. It's something that I never have really had the opportunity to do that before. At under 17, we didn't win gold, so really being able to win internationally, it was spectacular. Something that you can't really put words to.
There's obviously going to be a lot of people talking about you leading up to the NHL draft. Social media is a huge component to that. The scouting reports, the draft lists. I'm kind of giving you an opportunity now where you might not have anywhere else. Well, maybe it's not true, depending on if they ask you this. But there's a lot of scouting reports about Barrett Hayton. I'm giving you the opportunity to give yourself a scouting report, because you might see someone saying something about your game, and you're like, oh yeah, I see that, but not really. What kind of player is Barrett Hayton?
I feel I'm a 2 player with an offense in that I take pride in all three zones, and I feel I'm a very smart player who really likes to create plays, and I'm able to use my mind to create plays and make things happen in tight, and I like to shoot the puck.
No, absolutely. It's one of those things too where I always ask hockey players, misconceptions, things people assume about hockey players, because there's a lot of things like that. I haven't asked this question yet, and I'm sure the answer is no, and I'm hoping the answer is no, because you got to be focused and dialed in. But is there, at the junior age, if there's no focus on players looking at their stats, right? Because they want to look and see if they excel, but has that ever come into mind? Like, have you met players that, care about their statistics? Because one can make an argument if you look at your statistics and you're doing really well, or you're not doing as well as you want to, that might kind of motivate you or demotivate you, and it might be a distraction. Do you ever look at it like that?
No, I don't personally look at it like that. I feel it's something that it's really not something that your focus should be on. I'm sure there's some players who do, and I feel that probably holds them back.
No, I kind of agree with you. I think I didn't ask that question before because I feel like your answer is what they were going to kind of say, because it's something interesting. But it's just, how are you kind of taking on social media, Barrett? Because we know it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. There's some pros and cons. It's great for a lot of things. It's not so great for other things. A player like yourself, who people are saying you might go in the first or second round of the NHL draft, and you're getting tagged, and people know that your Twitter handle, that's your Twitter handle. What do you kind of think about social media in terms of a hockey player using them or not using them? What's your stance on that?
I feel there's just a level of it. There's a certain amount of focus you can put on it. I feel that as a player, you have to be pretty focused on the game and not really get caught up in it. But I feel there's definitely, with the evolving game, it's definitely an aspect, and it's just something that you have to learn to make really as an advantage of yours.
There's a big 2018. It's going to be a big 2018 for Barrett Hayton. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of things happening. What are you kind of looking forward to the most in an order of 2018? Because we all know the events are about the list, but if you were able to kind of talk about what is coming up and what you're excited for or preparing for the most, what would it be?
The main focus is the rest of the way here, really our final stretch before playoffs, and I'm very excited for our team and playoffs, and really that's the focus on my mind right now, and really everyone on our team, really just having a strong final stretch and then playoffs.
Absolutely. Where can people follow you on social media? I mentioned that before. What is your Twitter and Instagram handle?
My Twitter is at Barrett Hayton 27, and Instagram just at Barrett Hayton.
Perfect. Well, Barrett, just all the best for the rest of the year. It's exciting times, and thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, this has been Popternative. You can catch previous episodes of Popternative on YouTube for the video versions of the episode, and on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts for the audio versions. So until next time, you could like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Be sure to watch the CHL Top Prospects Game. Barrett will be in there, and we wish him all the best. Until next time, this is Barrett Hayton, PDB, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.